8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Utkarsh Tandon, and I welcome you all once again to this interactive post match analysis. What a game for Sunrisers Hyderabad! It was a royal clash between the Rajasthan and Hyderabad, where Hyderabad won it convincingly. Kane Williamson wasn't playing the game due to an injury, but it wasn't David Warner, it wasn't Johnny Bairstow who won for them. It was Manish Pandey who took that responsibility and got a fine support from the other end in the form of Vijay Shankar as the duo won it for Sunrisers Hyderabad. For more of the analysis, we'll have Mr. Monty Panesar with us. But before that, I'll just give you a backdrop of what happened in the game. Having won the toss, Hyderabad skipper David Warner elected to bowl first. A decision which was something good for David Warner, as till now the trend has changed. So far, means at the start of the tournament, it was teams batting first who were winning the game, but at the halfway stage, the trend changed and the teams bowling first started winning the game. So David Warner actually went with the trend and elected to bowl first. Robin Uthappa got out early for Rajasthan, but it was Stokes and Samson who stabilized Rajasthan as they scored 47 in the power play, losing just a wicket of Robin Uthappa. Again, a decision which will be argued that Stokes again opened the innings with Robin Uthappa while Josh Butler batted at number 4, or rather number 5. Uh, but it was in the middle overs when DC bowlers pulled it off. They varied the pace, they didn't give any pace, and RR managed to score just 58 runs, losing 2 wickets. In the last death overs, it was the cameos of Jofra Archer and Rian Parag, which took them to 154 for the loss of 6 wickets, as they scored 49 runs for the loss of 3 wickets in the last death overs, last 5 overs. For Hyderabad, it was Jason Holder who was playing his first game, and he clearly displayed his skills right there, picking up 3 wickets. While Vijay Shankar again with the ball was tremendously good, as he bowled 3 overs, conceding just 15 runs and picking a big wicket of Josh Butler. Rashid Khan, as usual, 4 overs he bowled, gave just 20 runs and picked a wicket. In reply, Hyderabad didn't get to a very good start, as they lost both David Warner and Johnny Bairstow in quick succession right there at the start. David Warner edged one, which eventually went to 4 of Jofra Archer, but he again nicked one on the successive delivery and got out of Jofra Archer. Again, David Warner got out of Jofra Archer. So David Warner and Jofra Archer is was actually the battle to watch out for in the match. It was a little battle to watch out for, where Jofra Archer actually dominated David Warner. And then, as I said, it was Manish Pandey show with the support of Vijay Shankar. Manish Pandey played at a blistering strike rate of over 170 and scored unbeaten 83 of just 47 deliveries, while Vijay Shankar scored 52 not out of 51 deliveries. First IPL half century for Vijay Shankar. While it was good that Manish Pandey finished off the game, he was making 30s, 40s, but he was not impacting his team through his innings. But this time around, he took that responsibility. He stood there right till the last and actually helped his team cross that finishing line, scoring 83 of 47 deliveries. For Rajasthan, again, Jofra Archer was the only one who bagged both the wickets of Johnny Bairstow and David Warner. Otherwise, all the bowlers looked pedestrian. Shreyas Gopal, 4 overs, 32 runs without a wicket. Tewatia, 4 overs, 25 runs without a wicket. These bowlers were good but couldn't pick a wicket, while Karthik Tyagi was too expensive, giving 42 runs in 3.1 overs, and Ben Stokes leaking 24 in a couple of overs. So now the viewers who are watching, I'd like to request that I have sent the joining link in the live chat window wherein you can click the link and join us live in the discussion. I have that. I've sent that joining link right there in the live chat window. You can click the link and join us right here in the live discussion. So who I have? I have Anurag. Hello, Anurag. A warm welcome. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
So, actually, what did you take of the match? Means a convincing victory for Hyderabad by 8 wickets, and Paji will be joining us in a moment. So, what's your take on the match? Being a fan, what's your take?
Uh, I think it was a nice match, and seriously, some matches do go that way that it will give you that look of being convincing, but it does have a lot of hard work in it. And I saw players of SRH doing really well. So it's actually it's good for the game also. The close matches are good for the, you can say, for enthusiasm, for the thrill, but these type of convincing wins are good for the team and those who are in the contention, and these teams will get a good you can say good confidence level up with such type of wins, even though
Yeah,
it would look like yeah, like a plain match, but it's good for the whole team of the Hyderabad.
yeah. So here now I have Paji with us. I'll be joining both of you in quick time. I have Paji with me now. Sat Shri Akal, Paji. How are you?
Yes, very well. Thank you, Sat Shri Akal.
Paji, I have so much to talk about Rajasthan Royals, as again they were tactically very wrong. So starting off with the batting, Josh Butler again in the middle order playing at number 5, and Stokes opening the innings, whereas we saw Stokes was not in the groove, scoring 30 of 32 deliveries, and at any stage he wasn't comfortable. And another thing, Rahul Tewatia, your inform man, he didn't come to bat, whereas you sent Rian Parag. So what's your take on these two shocking decisions by Rajasthan Royals again?
I think that once Ben Stokes has played about 6 games now, and he sort of strike rate's about 100 and sort of just over 100. You begin to question why aren't they making this decision sooner to drop him down the order? It's not working. Him being at top of the order, and sometimes I believe that the big personalities, the big game players, certain coaches may find it difficult to call that shot, and they'll think, that the best way to deal with that is just to statistically show it to him and say, look, this is, in 6 games, this is what your strike rate is. We expect it to be higher if we want to get a bigger score because you're going at top of the order. So, I think Ben Stokes would be better in the middle order. Puts less pressure on him, and I just don't think his strike rate is high enough at the moment to justify an opening spot.
And Paji, Jason Holder played today, and he clearly displayed his skills, picking up 3 wickets. So in the middle overs, I think I like to ask you the question that SRH bowlers really varied the pace, and RR could score only 58, losing 2 wickets. So that was the difference.
I think it's the difference of so you look at Kolkata Knight Riders, and both of their young domestic players, Marby and the other guy, are very similar in stature. So if a batsman's set, there's not much variation. But with Jason Holder and Natarajan, who's the left arm seamer. One is bowling from right arm much taller, that back of a length. He's getting that ball to bounce a bit higher. While thinking Natarajan is a bit more fuller length. So that adjustment and different angles I think, is working for Sunrisers. So that's why when you're having an attack, again, Pat Cummins, Lockie Ferguson work well. Different in stature, batsmen have to adjust. And apart from Jeffrey Archer, I don't think there's enough there, for Rajasthan Royals. It's not. It's very heavily reliant on overseas players, and you can see that having a varied attack makes it very difficult for batsmen to line up the bowler. And I think they've got their balance perfect now. Sunrisers Hyderabad.
And coming to Sunrisers, it wasn't David Warner, it wasn't Johnny Bairstow. Both of them got out early, but it was Manish Pandey who took that responsibility in the absence of Kane Williamson today, and actually helped his team to cross the finishing line, along with the fine support from Vijay Shankar at the other end. So, don't you think it's a good sign for SRS that the Indian duo, who we talked in the last match that it was Indian contingent who lost the game for SRS, but today the Indian duo won the game for SRH. So isn't it a good sign moving forward?
Look, I think it's the first time it's happened in this IPL for a very long time. Two Indian players, where they scored 100. And it's refreshing to know, because I thought for Sunrisers Hyderabad, if they really want to qualify, I think today was probably the complete performance they were looking for. When they're relying on David Warner and Johnny Bairstow and there, can Sunrisers Hyderabad perform? And Manish Pandey surprised us. I think he's got this ability to really bat really, really well, but I still believe that he doesn't do it consistently, and today was a great day for him. And I would love him to just take a copy of today's innings, put it on a hard drive, and just watch, the visual programming of the mind, the biomechanics. Why were you so good? How did you feel mentally, emotionally today? Just write it all down, because this was the performance, we need more consistently for Manish Pandey to do, and I really hope that, that he's able to, not do it every game, but throughout the IPL, we maybe see a bit more glimpses of this type of performance.
And we actually talked about this also in our previous shows, that Manish Pandey is actually playing that innings 30s, making the 30s and 40s, but he's not having that impact on his team. But today he had that impact. And probably, don't you think that today RR was exposed, as they only have Jofra Archer as their gun bowler who can pick wickets, and his overs were completely over, and his spell was over. His quota of 4 overs was finished right there in maybe in the 15th or 16th over, and then Steve Smith was just clueless, as other bowlers didn't came up at the helm.
Yeah, look, I think they're struggling big time for their bowling attack, and it wouldn't surprise me they sort of be at bottom of the table, because they don't really have a the bowling is the weakest link, and it's like a one-man team when it comes to Rajasthan Royals. It's just for Archer, and that's it. So I think they need to sit down and work out, what's our best bowling attack, and if they have to invest in overseas bowlers, great. The funny thing for me is, if they've got Ben Stokes there and David Miller, why have you got two batters there who are similar style? That doesn't make sense to me. You rather have another overseas fast bowler, and kind of like, chop and change from there. I find it, some of the overseas players in some of the teams are like, very similar to each other. And then, how are you going to drop one? How are you going to play one? It's a strange decision how they pick these players.
Actually, my next question was that only before adding the fans that does David Miller deserve a place in this Rajasthan team? Can he make the cut?
Look, I think he's got a strike rate is good and he's doing really well. But who would you drop? Would you drop Ben Stokes? If you're dropping Ben Stokes, then you bring David Miller.
Again, that's a hard call, which we always
because he's a good fielder. He bowls a bit, but he's not really performing in this T20. He's just doing bits and pieces kind of role. He's not really like, performing like we see Ben Stokes. And I may even bring in David Miller. And I think one of either Ben Stokes or probably Ben Stokes, maybe even drop him because, can you see now? Look, I don't understand. Like, even I'm so unsure about who I should play, Ben Stokes or David Miller. But why do you have two left-hand batsmen of a similar standard? It's like similar strike rates. This is what happens when you don't get your overseas players right. You're like,
and that Ben Stokes probably isn't bowling his best. Today he bowled 2 overs, conceded 24 runs at an economy rate of 12. So a brave call from your side, as you said, that I'll probably bring in David Miller. But let's see who takes the brave call. So now I'll bring in fans to the discussion. I have first Aman Kumar. Hello, Aman. A warm welcome. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, and hello, sir. And my question is, what's your take on, as you said, Manish Pandey played exceptionally well, and the way he dominated today's game, especially counter-attacking cricket in power play. SRH was after 2.3 overs, 14 for 2, and after power play, they were 58 for 1. But Manish Pandey played quite few good innings, but not consistent. What was the reason? His mindset, or maybe I don't know.
Yeah, look, it's that's a question that probably I think VVS Luxman is a better man for that because of having that sort of Indian sort of connection. And you kind of like, I think at the start of his career he was like the next big thing, and then suddenly he just went off the radar. And he's obviously like Andabati Raidu from Chennai Super Kings, another promising cricketer who actually didn't really like you don't see the consistency like you want from these players. And when they perform like this, you kind of like, as a coach, I would ask him, mentally, what was your game plan? Emotionally, what were you like? And what kind of bowlers, he seems to hit a 6-8 today, and that's extraordinary out of, what he scored. A lot of runs were from sixes. And could that be one of the reasons why, he's a six? He'd rather like hitting sixes, and then it'll be interesting to see as a stat how many times he gets quadri when he's going for a six, And this time
he hit 7.
Yeah, 7. There you go. He hit 7. But if he how many times does he get caught out in the boundary looking to hit for a 6? You kind of get the impression that that's what I would really focus on, because he obviously likes it in sixes, right? And normally someone who hits 100 probably hits that many sixes. So, what is his game plan? And I think that's how, you kind of work out, is he calculating the right ball, when to hit the six, or does he just think, right, this is the ball, I'm going to hit a six, and it's okay. I'm a good enough player. I'm not going to really push myself. Get 20 to 30. I can play in the team. And, that kind of attitude and sometimes doesn't get the best out of you, and that's why I admire Virat Kohli, because he just wants to get his game good. He runs hard between the wickets. I remember when I was, at Northpads with Mike Hussey, he was on a 300, right? And I came in at number 11, and he was running fast the next morning with me. I was like, wow, why are we running so hard on 300, mate? He goes, nah, man, it's the attitude. It's your attitude to just cricket. And I think that's sometime, I believe, has lacked in under Bhatti Raidu and Manish Pandey, have that kind of relaxed Indian attitude. Well, you look at Virat Kohli, he likes the attitude of AB de Villiers, for example. He likes the way he's, can be a 360 degrees player, the way they run between the wicket, the intensity, that brings to the game. So you're always bettering yourself. You're never thinking, sometimes you can just sort of, I don't have to push myself as much because I'm in the IPL. I've got a nice contract. And, Manish Pandey, who else is competing for my spot? I'm the only Indian domestic, cricketer that will get in the team. I'm a good builder. And that, if he had competition amongst similar player to him who can take his spot, then he'll probably push himself a bit more. And I think that's what Virat Kohli has done. And no one would have thought Virat Kohli, the cricketer, would be amongst the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, Usain Bolt, top 5-10 athletes in the world. And that's because he kept on pushing himself. And that's, as cricket fans, this is what you learn while you watch the game. You think, wow, look at this guy. Yeah. And
yes, definitely, as you said, Paji. Yeah.
Talent-wise, I don't say there's a lot between Manish Pandey, Virat Kohli, and Bhatti Raidu. They can all hit the ball really well. It's just the attitude to how they, want to improve and push themselves, and that's what Virat Kohli has brought to the Indian cricket team. And it just emphasizes even more, man, just like what a great cricketer he is, and how his attitude to defeat. Him and MS Dhoni, I think, are the best role models for any young cricketer to watch, right? And even cricket fans, how they gracefully have their attitude to defeat. You should see how they are when they, in interviews, everything, and it's brilliant to watch. It is absolutely modern day cricketers love intensity, have to make calculated decisions under pressure. Lose, how would they react? Winners, most of the time they are winners, and they gracefully, accept defeat. And it is something to watch and learn from these two great role models.
Yeah, and definitely, as you mentioned that consistency should be an aspect which both Manish Pandey and all the upcoming cricketers need to bring in their game. And as you mentioned of Ambati Raidu, just on a light note, today Vijay Shankar actually gave a 3D performance. Vijay Shankar gave a 3D performance, batting, bowling, and fielding. So, on this note, I'll move to Anurag now. Anurag, warm welcome. Live in the show. Go ahead. Again, some.
May I add something here?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, as sir said about the consistency of players. So most of the time, whenever Manish Pandey got out, he actually
Yes, I'm
bowlers didn't
experiencing a
get
bit of
his
issue,
wicket.
but I will
Bowlers didn't get his
get through to my.
bowlers didn't get his wicket. Actually,
Is Utkarsh good
he
enough
threw his wicket
for
to
the
them.
cricket game
I'll,
now?
I'll like
Is
to
it
I'll like to intervene. I'd
one
like to intervene.
even
Aman,
for the IPL?
Anurag is back.
Yes.
Yes,
Sorry.
Anurag, please can you repeat your question? Probably you can switch off your camera and just ask your question through the voice, through the mic.
My question is related to Uthappa. I mean,
Yeah.
is he not good enough to continue playing in the IPL?
That's a really good
Okay.
question because, to be honest, he should be performing the most out of Steve Smith, Joss Butler, Ben Stokes. He's got the most experience, and you know, Robin Tupatu. The thing is, there's no one. Who would you bring in? Who would you bring in for Robin? Experience. There's no substitute for experience, and also I wouldn't make harsh decisions while we're at the UAE. Like maybe some of these great players who've played in the IPL for such a long time. I think it's fair for them to at least play, if it is their last IPL next year in India, and see how they perform there, where they performed, really, really well. So I think it'll be a bit harsh, to start questioning some of the experienced players not performing, maybe, move on from them and actually bring in new players. But then who do you bring in? Who's the replacement? Sometimes, an experienced player maybe just having a few bad games. And if you get rid of him, it's a bigger hole than to fill than actually just having that person. And it's been a great servant to the IPL. I think he should be, play in India, and then let's assess, where he's really at.
Okay. And actually, I was very, very shocked when KKR uh, actually didn't retain him. So that for KKR, he has been too good for KKR, and that was a shocking decision when it was actually disclosed. Another question from Anurag, as he is not able to join. How can Robin Uthappa be back in touch?
Well, look, I think he's a player of not confidence but of flow. He needs the flowing boundaries. There needs to be flowing. He needs to be feeling good about his game. He likes playing good looking shots. He needs to look good at the crease, and everything like that. And I think he should continue. Should open the batting. Leave him there, let him play, and in fact, sometimes it's actually more the discussions that coaches need to have with certain individuals who can play really well, but how do they feel?
The communication needs to be better.
Yeah, like is Robin Uthappa thinking, well, I feel like this could be my last IPL, and what is going on through your mind, Robin? Speak to someone, speak to the coach. Maybe he can help you some way. And I think they need to sort of have these kind of discussions, as a group, and say, guys, okay, with the next few games going, what we've got left, we need to, this is the direction we're going to go, and let's commit to that direction, and let's see if we can change some of the results. Then at least when, the coach or the owners, whatever, they say, guys, we had an honest discussion, this is the direction we want to go, and the performances are happening, it kind of gives them some sense of hope that actually these group of players can, turn around the result. And when we, hopefully the next IPL is in India, if we're in a similar situation, maybe at the start of the IPL, whatever, we'll have an honest discussion. So it's so important for some of these IPL teams to turn around a season that's not going well, because then they've got a template to work with.
Yeah. So now SRH sits at the 5th position, replacing Punjab. So it's Delhi Capitals, Royal Challengers Bangalore, and Mumbai Indians top three. At the 4th position, it's still KKR with 10 points, and then SRH and KXIP. So, do you think that CSK is out? Do you think with this loss, RR is also technically out of the IPL. So for the fourth spot, who will you bet on? KXIP, KKR, or SRH?
It's so difficult. I think at the moment, because it's
If you
between.
have
I
to
think
pick, yeah.
I'll pick between two teams. I think Sunrisers, have kind of like are getting much better now with with the local Indian players doing well, but um, Punjab Kings, they're sort of turning it around, aren't they?
Current form.
Yeah, they're probably the informed team. They're the team who's got the most momentum at the moment. So, look, everyone I think would love to see Chris Gale, in the playoffs. It's, he's a huge marquee player. Um, Probably have to go with the universal boss here.
Okay, so it's Punjab at the fourth spot. So DC, MI, RCB, and Kings 11 Punjab. And looking at the current form, I think the best pick which you have done, looking at the current form also, because KXIP is really on a high, and they'll have a huge morale going forward, beating the top three teams of the table. Now, a quick word on tomorrow's match, the El Clasico. No matter CSK is at the bottom, but it's still the El Clasico, as in the first game, Chennai defeated Mumbai Indians, and Mumbai Indians will be uh, looking to take the revenge of the game. So CSK versus MI. What's your take on the game tomorrow at Sharjah?
Yeah, look, CSK probably will lose again, I suppose, but it would really wake up the IPL if Chennai Super Kings, beat Mumbai
Wins
Indians,
it.
and maybe we could see Dhoni, the old Dhoni, chasing down totals and scoring big hundreds. Well, not big hundreds, a big 50, for example. But I look, I would love to see Chennai Super Kings win tomorrow. It'll
It would
really open up
actually
the table.
spice up the points table. If CSK wins tomorrow, it will spice up the points table.
Absolutely. So I think just from a let's be a neutral fan. I would probably say I would love to see Chennai Super Kings definitely win tomorrow.
Yeah. And now a very important, and the question which CSK needed to answer for the whole of the tournament. Do you see any changes? Do you see young guns? But before that, I had a question right after the CSK game where you weren't able to join. Very important question I forgot. In the post-match presentation, MSD said that he didn't back youngsters because he didn't see any spark in the youngsters. My question to you is this statement correct? Number one. Number two, uh, does Piyush Chawla show spark? Kedar Jadhav has shown spark. Shane Watson has shown spark. So why not youngsters? My question to you.
Look, it's something internal which MS Dhoni wants to see. What MS Dhoni wants to see from the youngsters, and if he's not seeing the push, the competition, the people doing the extra hard yards, working, and then actually impressing MS Dhoni, he's going to unfortunately, stick to the senior pros. And we all know that MS Dhoni's team at the moment in the UAE is not suited for these conditions, and he doesn't have a strong enough team. And if I was a youngster in the MS Dhoni team, I would be doing extra fielding sessions, extra batting, working hard aggressively. I really want to get into that CSK team, and I think it's disappointing, that the youngsters are not pushing themselves, and it's very much an individual responsibility. Once you're in the IPL, it's so competitive to get in there. Once you're in there, you've got to really impress MS Dhoni, and if he feels that's the case, he will continue to back the experienced players.
Okay, so that's your take. Now, for the tomorrow's game, what's your take? Who will go out in CSK, and maybe he'll give chances to the young guns, as he said previously in the post-match presentation.
Well,
Who will
I
go?
think it's such a big game. He'll probably, definitely have to have Shane Watson at top of the order. And Josh Hazelwood, he's bowled really well. He needs to be there. Dwayne Bravo, again, I don't know what's his injury status, but if he's fit, I think he's an important member of the CSK team. So for me, it's like I said, El Clasico. It's we bring in youngsters or do we one more game? Say, so, come on, experienced guys.
Do you think Kedar Jadhav will be in?
Now that's a very good question, and I think that will be the change, because the Kedar Yadav, which I knew was a very much similar to Michael Bevan, a finisher, long blade bat, the old sort of, as we know of all the sort of, southern cricketers, they unassuming, but put a bat in their hand and suddenly they're like, wow, where does that power come from? So Kedar Yadav is in that, short in stature, wouldn't notice the guy much, but suddenly he'll put some amazing shots in and the power, and we just haven't seen that from him this year, this tournament. So I could that if I was hedging my bets, I would say Kedar Yadav is sorry, mate, but you won't be playing the El Clasico tomorrow.
and Piyush Chawla, because Karan Sharma is out.
Yeah, look, I think I would bring in Imran Tahir, who is performed really well, and it's a big game.
Drop Sam Curran.
I would definitely drop Sam Curran. I think that experiment isn't working now as an opening batsman, and also, as this all-rounder who's bowling. I think people have lined up well, and Imran Tahir, he loves the big occasion. He'll be desperate to celebrate like he does when he gets a wicket. And if they need a bit of a spark in that team, Imran Tahir maybe just bring that spark to them. So I expect Imran Tahir to play tomorrow, and who knows, that could start changing the fortunes for Chennai Super Kings.
Lastly, for Mumbai Indians, coming off a loss from 2 super overs against Kings 11 Punjab, any change for Mumbai Indians, or will they go with the same side?
Well, we all know Kishan, the young left-hander, is injured, and I don't think he will be playing. So they'll definitely bring someone else in for that, and that's the only change I see. But for me, Mumbai Indians are the team who are under pressure right now. If they lose, suddenly it opens up the group massively, and we all know. Every team in the top 4 is chasing for that first position. The reason being is an automatic. If they win, they get straight to the final.
Yeah, extra question. So last question I'll ask Aman if he has. Otherwise, we'll wrap up the show as we are running out of time. So Aman.
Yes, sir. Actually, you said you will drop Sam Curran, but Sam Curran is a player who actually performed for CSK, whether you talk about bowling or batting. He fires, but Dwayne Bravo, he only took 3 wickets and didn't bat as well.
Look, I think it's a great question. My bet, the way MS Dhoni likes his team to be, he would go for the experienced players and say, look, guys, this is a final. It's the IPL final. I'm going to play my best 11. And in the IPL final tomorrow, Sam Curran doesn't make that 11 for me. I will bring in Imran Tahir and Dwayne Bravo. This is how I would have to motivate these players and say, guys, it's the IPL final. Let's win it one more time. That's how they've got to change their season around.
Okay. So thanks a lot, viewers, for joining in. Thanks a lot, Paji, for joining in. Hopefully, we'll meet tomorrow again at 11:45 p.m. IST and 7:15 UK time. So thanks a lot. This is it from my side. Goodbye, good night, and stay safe. And we'll meet tomorrow again at 11:45.
Thank you all. Thank you.